Dog Nation. I tell you what, this is a reporter's kind of bat phone, whatever you want to call it. I guess we call it the Dog Nation phone. This is one of those weeks where this sucker here will not be quiet. It's a heavy news week. Lots of stuff's going on. Georgia just had a big junior day. The Caleb Downs news has dominated the news sphere for Georgia football and Georgia football recruiting. And that's why we're with you guys tonight for Before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger. We're going to try and do something here. I think you saw the title. We're going to try and stick. I feel like a Russian gymnast here back in the 90s or back in the 80s. We're going to try and stick the landing here on the very best Dog Nation Before the Hedges show we've ever had. Let that sink in, folks. The best one we've ever done. I'm confident and capable we can do that because, number one, we've got Miss Kaylee Mansell behind the glass. She has been thoroughly caffeinated. She's been here probably since the rooster crowed this morning, but we're working. We're here for you guys. Everybody's waiting on the Caleb Downs watch, what's going to happen right there. Let's do this. This is such a busy show tonight that I'm just going to let the show rundown speak for itself. We're going to have a conversation about Caleb Downs. We're going to have a conversation with Elijah Griffin. We're going to have a conversation with Ellis Robinson IV. We're going to have a conversation with KJ Bolden. We're going to give away a Dog of the Week. We're going to talk Junior Day. We're going to talk all things Georgia football. And I tell you what, if we can't give you any more than that, we can't shoehorn all that into a show, then into a better show rundown than that. If you can find one better, flip around the social media channels for you. Flip around those YouTube channels, your Facebooks, your Twitters, your homepages or whatever, because we're going to try to bring it. We're going to try and skin that smoke wagon tonight. Oh, Tombstone fans, you guys know what I mean right there. Without further ado, this show is so busy, so big. We could have done a Big 9, a Big 8. Let's try and cover two things outside the Big 5 really quickly. First of all, thanks to everybody for joining us. I know it's cold. I know it's frigid. I know Georgia grass feels like frozen tundra right now, but the news keeps going on. Let's talk about two things. First of all, this stuff's going on so busy right now that Georgia has a 5-star left in the 2024 cycle that the Dogs are still recruiting. That's 5-star Texas A&M commit Terry Bussey Jr. Now, he's from Texas. He was a terrific offensive player, quarterback, state champion type talent for Timpson, Texas. That's a very small town in Texas, folks. That is a very, very small town in Texas. He's currently committed to Texas A&M. He did not sign. He's going to take his official visit to check out Georgia on January the 27th. He's also going to take official visits to LSU and Texas A&M. Texas A&M gets the last one, and he will sign, I believe, on February the 7th. So he's got a busy schedule, got a lot of schools to see. Going to look for some finality in his decisions. I think Donta Williams helps Georgia a lot. They bring Georgia in there. He's rated as an athlete, but Georgia's recruiting him as a safety. Folks, we can't really hit the gas, or you can't get too excited about this one until he visits Georgia, and then we can talk about it. You know, Georgia's good right now. I think Georgia in recruiting, their powers are kind of stronger than they've ever been. We got so much going on. The microphone's shaking. Look at this stuff right now. Feel like the recruiting earth is moving right now. But wait to see. Wait till he visits Georgia. Wait till he visits the Classic City. And Georgia's going good right now. Georgia's going fantastic right now in recruiting. But I think they need a visit from a 5-star first before folks can really get excited about it. Second thing we're going to try to give you a quick hit on is Junior Day. Now, we're going to talk a lot about one of the Junior Day guys, Elijah Griffin. You're going to hear his own words about the visit in the Big 5. But let's flash, first of all, kind of a rundown of the Junior Day visit list. We talked about Elijah Griffin. Zayden Walker, that was another great visit for the Dogs. He brought his mom, Mama Solomon, into town. That was very important. Family members of top targets was a big thing for the weekend's visit. Tavion Wallace, who set a top 6 with Georgia, not in it, I believe. He's opened up his decision now. That visit went great for him. We had a story today on Travis Smith Jr. It sounded like he's getting really comfortable with the thought of being a dog. Travis, and before we say anything else about Travis Smith, number one receiver in the state, I think he's the best receiver in the South. I think he is an absolute God sign in the 2025 class. Terrence Edwards trains him. He says he's big, fast, skilled, physical. Name drop Julio Jones in his player evaluation with me a long time ago. But I want to show you this. Let's look at this picture right here. This is Travis Smith Jr. and his family. That's Travis. That's his dad. That's Kirby Smart. Everybody knows him, and that's his mom. Folks, I don't know how many recruiting photos I've seen better than that one. Let's take a quick look at that one more time. We're not going to analyze it like the Zapruder film, but that's Travis with his big arm length right there at the UT basketball game. You'll consult that story, and you'll see how he loves everything about Georgia. He loves the fact that he can talk to BMAC about his rights and wrongs and how the Georgia culture stands out. He likes a lot of things about Georgia. He likes sitting there talking basketball with Kirby Smart, just watching the UT game. And he was kind of like us and them. And he's talking about that Tennessee guard that just went off for 36 points. He talked about how Kirby Smart is just a dog. He loves all things Georgia. I think Georgia had the best possible visit it could with Travis Smith this past weekend. Travis told me that's his new number one visit to check out Georgia. Let's do a quick run through on the rest of the junior day guys right here. And I'm going to try and speed this along. This show's so packed, guys. I'm going to try and hit the whole fast and go, kind of like Nate Dogg Frazier. Mason Short recently decommitted after the Nick Saban news and after his Georgia unofficial. Kirby Smart went the very next day in the Kirby copter to check him out in Evans High School. Very strong chance there for the Dogs. Alvin Henderson, another big-time running back. I think Georgia's in his top 3, top 4, maybe moved up a little bit after this weekend. Cortez Smith, interior offensive lineman. We wrote about him as well. I think he was one of the most important guys to write about this weekend really quick. Georgia drops the Cedric Von Pron-Granger parallels. Cortez Smith, he's the youngest of 3, 2 older sisters, track background as well. He's been a starter since his freshman year in Big Boy, Georgia High School, 7A football at Parkview. When he left Athens, he told me it was really going through his mind what his life would be like if he committed to Georgia. Loves the Dogs. A lot of stuff to get to. Bryce Davis had a great visit. Christian Garrett, Christian Gass as well. All those guys were good. So that's a quick run through of the junior day visit. Georgia's going to have another junior day on February the 3rd. And, guys, that's kind of – what would we call this? The prequel, the prelude to the Big Five, and we're going to feel like this is the biggest Big Five. Put your hands in the air. Biggest Big Five we've ever tried to deliver here on Dog Nations before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger. Now let's talk the man of the hour, the man of the week, Caleb Downs. I think it's real, guys. If you had asked me 2 days ago, I would have said Ohio State. Maybe 3 days ago, I would have said Ohio State. I would have brought Texas into the mix. I think the Dogs are kind of right there. I mean, this is the point where capable, apt reporters with sources are talking to everybody they can. They're talking to every sphere of influence they can. And I think this has reached the point where it's something serious with Georgia. And if the Dogs can do this, can the Dogs do this? If the Dogs do this, this is one of those things in reporter terms where probably makes a lot of sense for reporters to start thinking about if Caleb Downs does go to Georgia, Caleb Downs doesn't go to Georgia. Simply put, I think he's worth all this fuss. He's dominated the news cycle for the last 2 or 3 days. I said this on Twitter. I said this a year ago. I said this. I think Caleb Downs is the best high school safety I've ever seen. Not so much safety prospect, because he's not the biggest guy. There are other guys that had a little bit more size and length. I think of the great Kyle Hamilton when I say that, now a first-team All-Pro with the Ravens. But I think Caleb Downs scored a touchdown his senior year every way possible you could imagine, even with a Disney script. He was the leader in huddle watching for his film and minutes, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. He did that at Alabama, and then he played better than ever his first year at Alabama. Caleb Downs is so talented and so skilled and such a hard worker, such an intelligent player out on the field. He's going to make it a debate. I feel he's going to make it the debate about a lot of things on the Georgia defense. If he chose Georgia, he could be one of the very best players on the Georgia defense, right in that conversation with the great, the amazing Malachi Starks. I think the reason why Malachi, wasn't the best high school safety I've ever seen is because Malachi kind of played a lot more quarterback in high school for Jefferson High School and Coach Gene Cathcart than he did a pure safety. I think Caleb's as good as it gets, and if he goes to Ohio State, he's going to make him a top 4, top 5 team. If he goes to Georgia, it might be the game over moment if he goes to Georgia. So, Dogs, I think it's serious. Dog Nation, I think it's serious, and we'll keep watching that one really closely there about Caleb Downs. What do you guys think? Are you guys eager? Are you guys frothing at the mouth potentially for Georgia to pair together a safety tandem of Malachi Starks and Caleb Downs? Whew, really be something. That's a quick hit there on Caleb Downs. Like I said, we're going to try to hit the whole hard and keep things moving. And trying to not have any letdowns in our show, why don't we do this? Elijah Griffin, I think he's told me he's got unofficial Junior Day visits coming to Florida this week. He's got South Carolina on February the 3rd. He's also going to check out Clemson on the 27th. Busy schedule. Going to enroll early. Going to sign in December. Going to enroll early in January for some lucky school. The number 3 player in the nation. Folks, guys, I could have written this earlier in the week, but I wanted you guys to hear it. Hear Elijah Griffin's words first here on Dog Nations Before the Hedges. The first of our 3 5-star Dog Nation conversations tonight. Let's hear from Elijah Griffin.
So, man, I don't know. You've been to Georgia, 7, 8 times? How was this trip with you?
Honestly, it was a great trip. I finally got my grandmother down for the first time. I just kind of wanted her to experience what I, experienced, and this whole process with Georgia, and I just kind of wanted her to get a feel for what I feel, and she enjoyed herself, and that was just probably like my main highlight of the trip, just seeing her, interact with the coaching staff and stuff like that, and just being happy up there.
Elijah, what's Grandma's name?
Her name is Edna Griffin.
Edna, huh?
Yes.
You get a lot of E's in the family, huh?
No, actually, it's just me and my grandma, yeah. Just me and my grandma. Yes, sir.
So who had more fun, Grandma or Elijah? Who had more fun?
I had a lot of fun. I guess you could call it we're even. We're even. We both had a great job.
Elijah, what stage are you at in your recruitment? I know every time you visited for 2 years, it feels like the staffs probably want to make it feel like an official for you. I don't know if you're recruiting with the football game. Are you at halftime? Are you in the first quarter? Are you in the fourth quarter? What feels right there for you?
Honestly, in my recruiting process, I'm just kind of, just taking it slow, weighing out all my options because, coaches might leave, things might happen overnight. As you can see, one of the best coaches in college history, shockingly, retired. So that's going to make a big game changer. But you never know. I just want to, weigh out all my options, wherever God leads me, and that's what we'll do.
You're watching all these schools, and you just mentioned Alabama. But the fact that, I guess, if anybody's stable, Coach Smart is stable at Georgia, is that a plus for the Dogs that that guy's probably not going anywhere anytime soon?
Yes, sir, absolutely. It's definitely a plus because, what he has brought in to that university, to be back-to-back national championships, that speaks volumes. And, knowing that he's going to, stay committed into what, he loves, which is the university itself, it does speak volumes.
These are usually good moments. Junior days are good moments for speeches or pitches. Who had the better one, Coach Scott or Coach Smart, where they really tried to lay some words on you this weekend?
It's really just about the same. Honestly, every time I go up is, if you don't want to work, do not come to Georgia, because that's all they do there. And I want to work. Honestly, that's just me. I love pushing myself to the limit. Maximizing my ability and stuff like that. But if you don't want to work, don't come to Georgia. That's probably the best quote I could give you from both of those coaches, Coach Smart and Coach Scott.
Elijah, are you going to take your officials in the summer, or are you going to take your officials in the fall? Any idea there yet?
I'll definitely take a lot this summer for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Most of them in the summer. Some game day officials if I can. But 9 times out of 10, most of them are going to be in the summer.
Is it hard for you to say what you're looking for or just to verbalize it in a few sentences? Like, what's the ideal school going to show you?
What I'm looking for in the school is, development. Like I said, maximizing, my game. Whatever is my goal is, be in the NFL. And honestly, I just want a school that's going to be there and to help me do that. And the best way to do that is just, figuring out coaches or who's going to do that for me, who's the best at it, developing players. And, just looking at that, and, the business management, that's kind of something I want to, have a degree in. So I kind of look at it as well. But really, that's pretty much it.
Elijah, let me ask one more thing before I get out the door. For you think about all the way Georgia's recruiting you and how they prioritize you maybe for like 2-3 years now. What do you think is the number one thing? Can you put your finger on the one thing you like best about Georgia?
Number one thing I like the best about Georgia? I would say the atmosphere and the people. The atmosphere, it's electric every time you go there for a game day. It's something that you'll never forget, in my opinion, obviously. I would say the atmosphere, the people, they are great. And, the coaching, I love a lot of things, but I couldn't just point one thing out. I love it all, to be honest.
Have they made it feel like home for you yet? Do you feel comfortable there?
Yes, sir, absolutely. 100%.
Awesome. Hey, Elijah, man, be well, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, absolutely. No, I appreciate you.
Sorry, I got Kaylee snapping at me behind the glass. I told you about this phone. This phone will not let up. This phone is like a beast right now. Elijah Griffin, takeaways from there. Like I said, he's going to visit Florida this week. He's got Clemson next week, and then his mother's birthday weekend. He's going to probably check out South Carolina. Going to take most of his official visits there in the summer. Another great visit. Folks, when you start bringing Grandma Edna to the unofficial visits and junior days, I think the Dogs' recruiting pitch is kind of cooking with gas there, to use a very fun Southern metaphor. There you go, guys. Elijah Griffin. You want to hear from him? You want to get a finger on the pulse of what's going on there, the intel, learn for yourself, hear for yourself, make your own snap judgments. That's what we try to do here on Before the Hedges, brought to you by those fine folks at Kroger. Next up, as if the 5-star train continues, I think we have 5-star Caleb Downs, 5-star Elijah Griffin. Let's move the starometer up to 15 stars right now. How about you guys get to hear from Ellis Robinson IV, 5-star cornerback signee. Now he's just a lowly freshman down on the depth chart, down on the totem pole at Georgia. Let's hear what Ellis had to say. He had a good conversation with him back at the Under Armour All-American game. Really cool stuff here from Dog Nation. This has got to be crazy. You've been like Santa Claus giving stuff away, man. What's this feel like?
I ain't gonna lie, I feel good giving back to the kids, because I was once in a position as an 8th grader, wanting all the, the senior stuff, so just giving it back, it makes me feel good.
Your dad told me a story a long time ago. He talked about a rainbow. He said if you work hard enough, there's going to be something at the end of the rainbow. Mm-hmm. You feel like that right now? Your rainbow is on the down slope, up slope? Like, what does it feel like to be transitioning to the college level?
Really, I don't even really know how to think about that for real, but really, I'm just trying to go into Jordan and just work, really. That's all I'm trying to really focus on, just working.
You see guys going in the portal and out of the portal. I think Julian came back to Georgia this evening. Does that motivate you all? That, I need to be ready just in case? How do you approach that?
I mean, either way you go, I'm still going to be locked in. I'm still going to work regardless, no matter who's there. So, I'm always going to compete, no matter who's there, transfer portal or not.
Are you trying to keep up with Coop?
A little bit, yeah. We had an argument about it. I'm trying to keep up with Coop. Coop, I'm coming for you. Just know that. Really, it's just my leverage. Really, just making sure that my leverage is good and everything. Really, stuff like that, little stuff, really. I was having a lot of fun. Really, it was with the teammates I had on the sideline and with the guys that was on the field too, and the fact that they was winning and everything. It was great. It was just a great experience all around.
What did you?
everybody. We got a lot of dogs coming in, early enrollees, early signings. We got a lot of dogs. It's like these two right here. Bunch of dogs.
Why'd you cut the hair?
It was just that time. It was just that time. I was getting ready for college, and I ain't really want it no more, so I just let it go.
There you go, guys. Quick stuff on Ellis Robinson IV. Pretty cool how he gave a shout-out to Coach Coop, David Cooper, the player development, player recruiting director for the Dogs, about the chain. Coop's known for the ice he wears on game days. So Ellis wanted to try and catch up with him. He took some jawing, or he took some heat from Coach Coop about his ice game and his shine game. So, man, he really stepped up there. Really cool to hear Ellis talk about going to work. And when that's the most talented cornerback, in my opinion, that Georgia has ever signed, most talented, even most skilled Georgia has ever signed, that's saying quite a lot. Keeping this thing going, keeping this train going. We're going to try and cover the Dogs tonight the way Caleb Downs covers, the way KJ Bolden covers, the way an Ellis Robinson covers. Check this one out. If you couldn't do any better with Ellis Robinson on one corner on one island, let's talk to KJ Bolden. Here's a conversation from the All-American Bowl, out in San Antonio, Texas, with KJ Bolden. What's it like going to be a Dog? What was his mindset heading into Georgia? What's the culture of Georgia like? Let's hear from him right now on Before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger. KJ, for you're looking around at all this talent. I just talked to Ellis about you last week. What's it like for you getting to play with that guy? I know you guys already talked about it. Did he come in on you?
Yeah. He always been talking to me. We always been talking. I remember when I first committed to Florida State, we always still stayed talking. He was like, bro, come on. You already a home state kid, you feel me? You already down there. You like 30 minutes from Athens. You might as well just come take it over with me. So, yeah, and then, Ellis a dog, man. Ellis a ball player, He love football like how we all love football. Like, he's really a football player. He really loves the game. So, definitely can't wait to play with Ellis, man, to take over that field. That's out of that field for sure.
Is Malachi Starks the pattern for you? Is that what you look at, free safety? That's the road you want to follow?
Yeah. Most people say I should, try to be yourself. But, bro, I feel like he printed out the blueprint. Basically, him coming in his freshman year, and you got to be on your stuff. You got to be on all 10. So if you feel like you come in, you be on all your stuff and learn the playbook, and, and you give all you got, you'll be on the field. So I'm going to try, feel me, do the same thing he did.
Two more, I think, KJ. One, you were talking to one of your future teammates about how hard the Georgia culture is. How would you explain that to somebody that doesn't know about how much a Bulldog is going to have to work?
Oh, I'll explain it it's like every team. You got to go somewhere. You got to work first before you get on that field and showcase your skills. But in Georgia, you got to put in that real work, and that's why we won championships, because we put in that real work. Everybody don't see off the cameras, but them boys really to be down there working. So I feel like, you feel me?
5-star plus. 5-star plus. Check your 5-star plus.
KJ, how's the fan base treated you since the flip?
The fan base treated me amazing, man. I'd be seeing them all. I live in Georgia, so I'd be walking around. Everybody screaming, "Go Dogs!" And I was on the highway the other day driving. Someone pulled down their window and screamed, "Go Dogs!" All types of stuff. It's really crazy, but that's what I really wanted. To be the hometown kid and stay at home with the Dogs. So, feel me? I really would. That's what I really expected from it.
What do you see of Nitro so far? What kind of player is he?
Nitro? Oh, Nitro a dog. That's like my best friend down here. Nitro, me and Nitro been cool forever, so Nitro gonna be nice. I mean, I went up get him the first day. He called a post ride on me, and I was like, bro, that's a good rep. You feel me? So iron sharper iron. You feel me? I feel like we gonna compete every day. We gonna go against the best every day. So by the time the game start, we all be ready and compete.
What's the message to the fans? If you could talk to all 95,000 in Sanford at one time, what would you say?
Be on the look for them Dogs next year.
Appreciate you, KJ.
Yes, sir.
Be on the lookout for them Dogs next year. I want you to go back. Maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. This is where your host kind of plays tour guide. He said he always wanted to be the hometown kid, to be a Dog. Pretty cool to hear KJ Bolden say that right now. Guys, that's what we try to do here. We try to bring you Georgia coverage. That was KJ Bolden, preceded by Ellis Robinson IV, preceded by Elijah Griffin, and then prior to that, you had some Caleb Downs talk. So trying to hit the iron hot with all things Georgia football with their coverage. Whew, everybody take a breath. That was 4 out of the Big 5. Here comes Big 5. And we're trying to have some fun with this week. We're going to call this our Dog of the week. We always try to pick something impressive, something great for Georgia football that happened over the last week. They're not playing games, so we're going to try and kind of channel our inner Will Ferrell, maybe have some fun with this one right now. Who do you guys think is going to be the dog of the week on Before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger? Let's check it out. Many thanks to Miss Mansell in the graphics department right here. Our dog of the week is the transfer portal. Think about that. Transfer portal, look at that graphic right there. Man, we might leave this up for like 3 minutes while we coast through the rest of our show. First of all, Jake Pope is the Before the Hedges dog of the week because he hopped out of the portal. Remember, Pope's news came prior to the Saban retirement. He was already in the portal prior to that. Dog of the week might also bring something this week as well. We talked about Caleb Downs. What if he did that? The transfer portal, not only if it was not good enough to bring talent to the University of Georgia, the transfer portal looks like there's 17 players that were part of the Bama depth chart. I guess that was for the semifinals against Michigan. Not counting NFL guys, not counting graduate transfers, not counting guys that went pro early. There's 17 guys in the depth chart, one deep, 2 deep, 3 deep, 2 deep, 3 deep, that Alabama expected to have back for 2024 that have hopped into the portal. So transfer portal, that was some heavy lifting. Not only has the transfer portal boosted the dogs with perhaps more to come later this week. All right, guys, so take a look at this right now. Like I was saying, Jake Pope came out of the portal to Athens Town this week. Who knows what would happen potentially with Caleb Downs. We discussed that early in our show. The transfer portal could give Georgia two amazing safeties from the Alabama roster. It could be Thursday, could be Friday, and also take a look at that Bama depth chart right there. We've never done this before. We're actually trying to have a little bit of fun with it because there's not really a clear candidate. We like to do entertainment as well as news here on our show as well. Hopefully that brought a few laughs. Our dog of the week is your transfer portal. Again, hat tip, shout out to Miss Mansell there for the very cool graphic. See what that young lady can do when she's got caffeine in her blood. Very cool there. Guys, let me tell you about something right now. Probably one of the coolest things we do at Dog Nation, we do the Dog Nation Cruise. It's in April. It's a week. Keeps getting bigger and bigger. So cool to be able to vacation and hang out and call it work, not using any PTO, but call it work to hang out with our audience. Many thanks to BJ Sweeney and Brandon Adams for what they do, trying to kind of stir things up, get a lot of folks involved in the Dog Nation Cruise. And folks, if you've heard about it, you can be a part of the Dog Nation Cruise. We do it every year. We find such great stories, such deserving, wonderful people. I'll never forget last year we had a gentleman and his son. He was a fireman. He's from the Columbia County area. They got to join us because they entered our contest brought to you by Kroger. This one's pretty simple. Go to the dognation.com homepage. You can find that great link, great graphic. I think we tweeted it out on the Dog Nation social media accounts as well. Go to dognation.com. Tell us your favorite Brock Bowers moment to be entered to win. Folks, you guys don't have to go all Ernest Hemingway or Sentell writing this great story. The winner will be picked at random, and then, unfortunately, you get to come with us in the Caribbean. You get to go to Coco Cay. You get to hang out. We're going to have trivia. We're going to have watch parties. We're going to watch the NFL draft. We're going to island hop. We're going to eat together. We're going to break bread. We're going to have some fun on the Royal Caribbean. I believe it's Allure of the Seas. Great ship, great company, everything awesome there. Go to dognation.com. Tell us your BB19 favorite memory. If you guys have already entered, go in. I mean, we're going to pull one name at random, and you guys get a chance to hang out with a bunch of dogs on the Dog Nation Cruise brought to you by Kroger. Really cool thing, really cool company, really awesome gesture there by Kroger to kind of bring another member of Dog Nation into the fold with us as we go cruising, thanks to Royal Caribbean. Guys, one more thing. We got our question of the week. This is really cool. We try to do this each and every week. I just want to see how you guys are paying attention. I'm not going to call on you guys, everybody in the comments section, all your top fans, all your 5-star fans or whatever. Here's our question of the week, and I want you to know what 2024 signees jersey are you most likely to purchase? Like, you got your eye on a number yet? When it goes live on the UGA bookstore, Intel has always told me that that's the best place perhaps to buy the jersey, because I think it's the players get a bigger cut out of that maybe than the national online chains. Which 2024 signees jersey are you most likely to cop? That means, hey, add to your collection. A lot of great candidates. You got Joseph Jonah-Ajanye. You got Ellis Robinson IV. You got I almost said a name there. Can't say that name there right now. You got KJ Bolden. You got potentially London Humphreys. You got Ryan Puglisi. Some pretty cool comments about Pug that came out of Pugsy. Pugsy is some of the signees call him already, but some pretty cool stuff about Ryan that came out on the Players Lounge this week. I think Mike Griffin wrote about that as well, but can't wait to see what the responses are. I'll be in the chat as well, trying to hear what you guys had to say, and also what you thought about a show with Caleb Downs, followed by Elijah Griffith, followed by Ellis Robinson IV, followed by KJ Bolden, followed by the transfer portal as our dog of the week. Guys, almost through the show. Really appreciate you guys joining us. We can't close the chapter on Before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger, without going through our top targets, without going through our commit board, without going through our scene setter, snapshot of what the Dogs 2025 class looks like right now. Currently number 6 in the country, and I'm going to say this with all the Ric Flair chest or flex I possibly can, that number is going to go a lot higher. Maybe 1, maybe 2, and I'm not talking about number 2. Just give Kirby Smart and this staff of black belt recruiters, like I like to say, time to work. Let's take a look right now at your Dog Nation class breakdown. Right now, Bo Walker, the running back. Alvin Henderson, is he a guy that maybe joins the class there? Is it Usmani Kroma out of Lee County as the other running back? Elias Williams, Ethan Barbour. Barbour was really recruiting Travis Smith hard this weekend, all this week, consistently recruiting that guy hard. Those are your guys on offense right now, the 3 guys on offense. Check out defense. Justice J. Terry, really linked with Elijah Griffin. You guys heard from him. Jaden Perlotti had an interesting conversation with him. The news from Nick Saban, I think, strengthens Georgia's kind of connection with Perlotti. Jaden says he's still going to take his visits. He's still going to check out Alabama really soon, get to know the new staff. But like the one school the Georgia coaches were always wanted to know a little bit more about when Perlotti was visiting was always Alabama. No more Nick Saban kind of takes a lot of the teeth out of that program. 4-star Tay Harris. Tay is supposed to be in Athens for the next junior day on February the 3rd. That's your class breakdown right now. It's all certainly going to change. These numbers are going to populate. Georgia's going to field another awesome class in 2025. And speaking of, let's take a look at kind of what the snapshot looks like now. 3 on offense, 3 on defense, 6 in-state Georgia commitments. Number 5 nationally, 6 commitments, 6 in the SEC footprint. Just Georgians right now. We always look at these offensive players. 3 offensive players. 2 actually are among the highest 5-rated commitments in the class. That's going to change. These numbers are going to get going. You know, I'd look March, April is when the names will start. Some of the bigger names will start. Again, we would look to July is the year when everybody tries to commit after the June official visits. That's just the way Georgia likes to get down with its building up its recruiting classes these days so it can chase a championship in the fall. Got some additions, got some subtractions to our top targets. Let's take a look at that right now. Top targets, early targets for 2025. We're adding Mason Short to the list, even though Georgia signed 6 offensive linemen. Mason Short's really got a Tate Ratledge thing going. If you look at him, you look at the pictures, if you've seen him, he's really changed his body a lot over the last year. I think he could be a great interior offensive lineman in Athens, coming out of the CSRA in Columbia County in Evans, Georgia. Ryan Montgomery, Findlay, Ohio, scheduled to visit on January the 22nd. That number 11 is connected to number 4 right there. You see that? That is a huge new addition on the list. We'll get to Juju in a second. Isaiah Gibson out of Warner Robins. Georgia hosted him for Junior Day this weekend, and then Georgia, pretty cool scene on social media. Coach Schumann, Coach Smart, and Dan Lanning were all at his basketball game on Tuesday night. Josh Petty did not make it. That's the 5-star offensive tackle out of Fellowship Christian. He was on a wrestling trip. He was wrestling in some of his for Fellowship Christian. He's a big-time wrestler. Cortez Smith, we talked about him already. Naeem Offord, he drops a little bit. I think that's going to be a daunting recruitment to win, especially how Auburn and then DeBoer in Alabama will gear up for the 25 class as they try to re-recruit and start basically hit the reset button on reinstalling and reinfusing the talent for the Kalen DeBoer era in Tuscaloosa. Juan Gaston Jr., he did not make the visit to Athens this weekend. Travis Smith, we talked about him. Guys, Dogs absolutely have to win that recruitment. The concern here is that NIL will become a very big factor in any wide receiver's recruitment. Lots of schools are going to be coming after Travis. Georgia, I feel, is easily in its top 3, top 4. Certainly sounds like it to me with my years of experience and listening to things and following Travis Smith's story for quite a while now. Julian Juju Lewis. Guys, this show is so big, so full. I probably should have told you this earlier. One of the other bigger stories of the week, recruiting-wise, you had Mason Short, number 12 here, decommitting from Alabama. But then the number 4 right here, you had Juju Lewis reclassifying from 2006 to 2005, the Carrollton High standout for Coach Joey King. Major. I think Georgia's going to shoot its shot for Juju Lewis. I wonder how heavy NIL will weigh in on this ultimate decision for Juju. But Juju is a talented passer. I wrote this week about Juju's reclassification. I call him a 99th percentile processor of football IQ. The responsibility that Coach King has put on Juju Lewis so far through 2 years of high school, 96 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Can't move him all the way to number 1 because I think Georgia's really set for the next couple of years with Ryan Puglisi and Gunnar Stockton, but also the fact that that's going to be a daunting task for Georgia to try to beat out maybe Texas, maybe USC to try and flip away Julian Lewis. But, if Georgia could add him to the 2025 class, it would be a spectacular addition. Zayden Walker, still have him. I think he's a little bit overshadowed. Number 1 linebacker in the country, number 9 prospect in the nation. Visited Athens this weekend. Elijah Griffin, told you guys all about him. You guys heard from him earlier in the show. It sounds to me like he's just going to go off feel when he wants to make his public commitment decision there for Elijah Griffin, the 5-star out of Savannah. Kirby Smart was actually in Savannah earlier today visiting with Elijah and his folks in his school. Number 1, David Sanders Jr. Folks, I don't think David's going to do a lot of visiting for junior days. Maybe Alabama, just because I know that's a big school for him. Perhaps one of his top 3 or 4 schools. With Saban, I think eventually the family would want to get back to Tuscaloosa and just kind of get a feel for the new staff under Coach DeBoer. But David, this is a big semester for him. The junior year, spring semester is always big. He's rehabbing his shoulder injury. I'm told that that's going on well. He's about starting his rehab, jumping back into getting strength back in that joint. But David's also got a challenging academic schedule. I don't think the Sanders family will be out visiting for junior days too much for the rest of this month and early in April, March, April, things like that. Guys, that's your top early targets. Loaded show. We certainly appreciate your time. Thank you guys for joining us. What did you think about the show? Did we kind of hit the mark with what we were trying to do? Did we kind of stick our landing? We try to give you guys the best dadgum show we could possibly give you guys here on a Wednesday night before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger. We sure hope so. That's the goal. That's the aim. That's the standard, and we'll try to do it all again next week here on Before the Hedges. Guys, I'm Jeff Sentell. Thank you for your time. We've tried to educate. We've tried to entertain. We've tried to drop some intel. Thank you for your time. That's been your intel. You guys be well, and we'll see you guys again later next week on the pages of DogNation.com.